The Repair Lot, a one-stop shop where a crack team of experts bring classic cars roaring back to life.
20 years and it's fired up.
Is it then? Hey?
No job is too tough, no car too challenging.
No, I've truly never seen a car like this. It's amazing.
Award-winning motoring journalist Charlie is meeting the owners
Aaron, welcome to the workshop.
Hello, how are you doing? You all right?
and assessing how to keep their drives alive.
Immediately, that steering column is juddering up and down, isn't it?
Together with old and new school mechanics Derek and Hannah,
Hey,
That's really good, isn't it?
result.
Yeah.
Freya the trimmer,
Right, that's all the stitching done. I'm really happy with that.
and bodywork specialist Jerry Lee,
It brings the whole car together. It really, really looks nice.
the team are on a mission
Oh, wow, it looks so different.
to put any classic in any condition back on the road.
Absolutely fantastic.
This time, a brilliant beach buggy named after a cocktail.
It's Mimo, orange and sparkly.
But the scary steering leaves Charlie shaken.
That's a big red light. That is dangerous and it should not be like that.
And mechanics Hannah and Derek feel the hangover from a ghastly gear change.
I was struggling to get it into gear. Then when I got it into gear, I couldn't get it out of gear.
An ordinary-looking Escort rolls in, but this family wagon is actually a fast Ford.
So a little bit quicker than your standard Mark 5 Escort as well, I think.
That gives it some oomph then.
Trim expert Freya decides to dial up the interior details.
Letting them down is these cargo nets round here.
But bodywork guru Jerry Lee is shocked by the state of the rear end.
Really not the best start and not something I was really expecting.
Can the repair lot straighten out this old estate
It showed my worst nightmare.
and get this beached buggy back on the B roads?
I can see that the engine's got an oil leak, so that's something I'm going to have to look at later on and see why that is leaking oil.
Looking to get beach ready for summer, a stunning Volkswagen Buggy with a brilliant metal flake paint job and loads of chrome. It's a real head-turner. Owner Catherine loves her car, but major mechanical issues mean she can't drive it. She's asked the workshop for help, and assessor Charlie is here to see if the team can get her back on the sand dunes soon.
Oh, Catherine, hey.
Hi, Charlie.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. Yeah.
Thank you very much for bringing your beach buggy to the workshop. It's amazing, super sparkly. We've not had anything in like this before.
Yeah, it's a very joyful car. I appreciate something that's a bit different. I like something that will stand out and just get noticed. As soon as I saw this sort of orange, sparkly, and I do name all my cars, I thought, well, it has to be Mimo, which is sort of short for mimosa, which is a drink made with orange juice and Prosecco. So it's Mimo, orange and sparkly.
Beach buggies were born in 1960s California. Fun off-road cars to hoon around the sand dunes in. Catherine's car is a Mayer's Manx, one of the most famous makers, and is based on a VW Beetle.
I'm thinking, what on earth could be wrong with this beach buggy? It looks absolutely mint. It's going to move this steering wheel, and immediately that column is juddering up and down, isn't it? And it's really quite wobbly. That must be
Yeah.
quite scary.
Yeah.
That's not how it should be.
It's not right. It's not right.
That's a big red light. That is dangerous, and it should not be like that.
And the problems continue with a very stiff gear change.
Yes, I'm going to just put the clutch down and have a play, if that's all right.
Yeah.
It's not smooth, is it?
No, no, there's something going on there, and
Oh, yeah.
it needs to be a lot smoother.
Yeah.
I just don't have the confidence to drive it anywhere at the moment because I know it's not right, it's not how it should be. I love the look of this car. I have no mechanical knowledge whatsoever, so, you know, it's over to you guys to help me out there.
Well, you've come to the right place. You know, this is exactly what we do every day. We'll get this buggy back on the road so you can have some fun in the sun.
Excellent, thank you.
Mimo the cocktail car is leaving a sour taste at the moment. Charlie sets mechanics Hannah and Derek the task of putting the sparkle back into the Buggy driving experience.
I don't know if I've seen anything like this before. It's very unique, isn't it?
Well, this is based on a Beetle. It's a shortened wheelbase, so quite lively to drive, real fun thing.
And of course, it's got the engine at the back, like the Beetle. So if I get in, I'll drive it into the workshop
I'll
and...
give you a... Gotcha.
Yeah? Where's the door? Yeah, it's not easy to get these into gears. I can see where the problem is.
Underneath this stylish body are the oily bits from a Beetle. But this is a custom car, so a bit of a one-off.
You're really struggling there.
Yeah, I mean, you could see I was struggling to get it into gear. Then when I got it into gear, I couldn't get it out of gear. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get it up in the air and have a proper look and see what is causing that, because it is not nice.
With over 15 years of experience in classic cars, Hannah has worked on plenty of Beetles, and she knows there should be a panel underneath where she can see the gear linkage.
It's all nice and clean under here, and everything just looks brand new. But the issue is there's no inspection plate for me to look at the gear linkages and the cables. So from under here, I can't really see much. With custom cars, a lot of things are changed with the body and how everything is positioned and bits like that. So I'm going to have to lower it down and see if I can find an inspection panel elsewhere.
So, a bit of a dead end on the gears.
So I'm just looking underneath while I've got it up in the air, and I can see that the engine's got an oil leak. So that's something I'm going to have to look at later on and see why that is leaking oil.
A fresh oil leak is a very bad sign. Another big job just got added to the Beach Buggy to-do list.
It's actually dripping down and dripped on the floor.
The oil leak can wait until Hannah's got on with the gear issue.
Right, so I've just taken off this inspection plate, and underneath it, I've got the gear linkage, which is really good, so I can actually see when I'm moving the gear lever what is happening underneath. And it looks quite dry. There's not any grease in there, and because it's a moving part, it's important that it does have some grease in there.
Grease is the word. It's essential to keep moving parts lubricated so they don't wear and break.
So I've greased this rod at the back of the linkage, and I'm working the grease in to loosen up the whole linkage.
But the only way to really test it is from the driver's seat.
That is a lot better. So we've got first, second, third, fourth, and also reverse, so we can get all gears really easily now. That's really good. That's going to transform Catherine's driving experience.
Back with the Beach Buggy, and Derek is getting to grips with the shonky steering column.
So there's way too much play in this. So when you're driving it, as soon as you start turning, you're going to get a little bit of movement.
The steering column needs a stiffen up. Derek climbs inside to find a fix.
This is like going back to the 80s. All this glitter is like a disco ball. Oh, yes, now I see. So we've got a 20mm piece of box going from left to right of the car. This is not strong enough. It just really needs to be thicker because it's just not supporting the steering enough.
Derek decides to cut a piece of steel to size. He wants this to fix to the old support bar in the dash. So he fabricates small brackets and welds them to the new bar.
What I need to do now is test fit this.
But it's a right squash and a squeeze.
I've been in some tight spots, but this... quite sure how I'm going to do this yet, but...
In the workshop, Derek is upside down under the dash of a beach buggy. He's stiffening up the sloppy steering column.
This will be worth it once I get it done. It'll look good, it'll be safer, but this is a struggle.
Eventually, the column brace is complete.
Right. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm excited about that. That is working for me. That is solid now. Catherine's going to be really chuffed.
On its way in today, with 1990s bangers blasting from the stereo, is a sporty Escort estate. Drummers David and Fenella, father and daughter, love their fast Ford and use it as a load-lugging gig wagon. But they need help to keep it on the road for future tours. Charlie is here to get the Escort back on the beat.
Hello. Hi, Charlie.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm David.
Nice to meet you, David. Fenella, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming down to the workshop.
OK.
And this is the car that my mum drove when I was a teenager, and it's just really unassuming, very sensible family car.
At first glance, it does look like a fairly sensible family car, but actually this is probably not the one that your mum had. It's not what you expect from an Escort.
OK.
This might be a little bit more exciting than the one your mum had, I think. Very rare model, it's an SI. It has a lot in common with the XR3i of the same period, so it's got the same wheels. They're the 5-spoke wheels that were only ever featured on the XR3 and this one, the SI. And the engine. The engine's probably the most important thing to mention. It's got the 1.8 engine, which is 105 horsepower. So a little bit quicker than your standard Mark V Escort as well, I think. The seats are really special. These seats are described, I think, as wingback seats. They're very sporty, supportive seats. They hold you in.
Do you get much attention when you're out and about in the car?
I do, actually, yeah. I mean...
Yeah, honking the horn like
Honking the horn.
crazy.
Winning rallies and flooring it around a track. Motorsport built the Fast Ford brand. The road versions of these iconic saloon cars defined their times. Soft curves in the 60s and 70s, sharp angles in the 80s and 90s. Escort estates are now rare. But this one is the perfect daily drive for musos David and Fenella.
I'm a drummer, I'm a musician, I'm a drummer, I'm in a band, play regularly. You can get loads and loads of drums in the back of that car. It's fantastic for moving gear. You can put the seats right down.
Amazing. So it's a gig-mobile, basically?
It's turning into one, yeah, and I think because Fenella's also a musician, she's got a band going of her own now.
Yeah, we're just starting to do gigs and stuff. I've been drumming for quite a while and it's really good.
This is all music to my ears. The car runs, you're using it for practical stuff, you're using it to go gigging. It's all amazing. So I'm a bit perplexed as to why you brought it to the workshop.
It's falling down in a few areas. It's all over here, really, around the back of the car.
OK.
Everything at the back he's looking at, but this is particularly bad. There's a big hole.
Oh, that looks nasty. I can see right through.
You can
What's
see
going on
inside.
there?
Yeah, you
what
can see.
happened?
There's something obvious missing. It should have a rear wipe, and that was what was left after the damage. The rear wipe was hanging out, so we just covered it up.
The Ford badge at the back of the car, you take that off and there's a gaping hole in the bodywork. Not cool.
The bumper itself still kind of...
God, there's some real movement in that, isn't there?
It's moving more than it shouldn't.
Blimey.
When you get to the other side, it's actually hanging down. You can see it's hanging
really
down.
loose. That's not what you want at all,
Yeah.
at all. So it's really been through the walls, hasn't it?
Just the back end of it's had a real bump at some point. Well, we've mentioned the interior, which is really special, but it is looking a bit tired and a bit grotty.
It was proper grotty when we first got it, so
I think that's
it's what it
really
needs, yeah.
Yeah.
From the beginning, this car has been part of your father and daughter relationship, and that's really special. So I promise you that everyone in the workshop will do their very best to get it back into the condition that you want it, so that Fenella can go off to her gigs.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really cool to see what you can do with it, and it'll just be nice to see it proper done up, like a nice, decent car you want to go out in a lot more.
I think everyone in the workshop is really going to enjoy working on this car. It's a bit of an oddball, but the fact that David wants to hand it down to his daughter, fantastic family story, and the fact that he wants to use it for gigs and for Fenella's gigs, that makes it super cool.
But for the team to get this grotty gig wagon tour ready, they'll have to repair nasty crash damage and get the bodywork back to its best. Bodywork Supremo Jerry Lee wants this estate to hit the high notes again, so she's planning a total retune on the Escort rear end.
So I'm just trying to tighten the screw to level the bumper, but it seems to be going round and round. Just spinning round. Since I can't seem to get it free, I think I'm going to have to cut it off. Yeah.
Radical plastic surgery begins on the bumper. Under the skin, the patient doesn't look too healthy.
So what they've done is, because there's no mounting point here for the bumper, they've actually used a screw to try to attach it, which has ruined both the bumper and made this back part actually worse. So really not the best start, and not something I was really expecting.
David said the Escort had a rear-end crash before he bought it. Looks like it was a bad one.
Almost got the bumper off. Just need to disconnect the lights. The key part of the bumper, which is this foam, half of it is no longer here. And that part is super important because it's the part that takes the low impact of any hits. So really, this bumper sadly is not fit for purpose. And I'm gonna have to get a second-hand one and work with that.
Finding a replacement bumper for a rare 1990s estate ain't easy. And then there's the boot lid too, which needs the skills of Jerry Lee and Derek before the Escort will be back on song.
You ready?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
They're hoping this part can be repaired.
This isn't just a hole, this is a crater.
What are you gonna do?
I think what I'm going to do is clean this up, put a plate underneath because it's so close to the glass.
Yep.
Plate underneath, spot weld it, fill it, and then get it ready for you to do your magic on it.
Quite a bit to do.
Owner David and daughter Fenella are big fans of the sporty seats in their estate. But after 30-odd years of use, car trimmer Freya has a plan to press refresh.
So these seats are out of the Escort. They're really cool. I love a Ford. They're kind of rally-inspired with all of this. They're in fairly good condition, but letting them down is these cargo nets around here. And I think I could make a little repair to them if I can get this back off.
In the 1990s, before sat-navs, this is where people put their map books. And they were heavy, which is why it's gone all saggy and needs a freshen up.
So what I'm going to try and do is release the fixing here so that I can get behind here and pull this string tighter. Because when I do that, the whole cargo net goes back to how it should be.
With years of experience, Freya knows how to retension the elastic. But if she breaks a plastic fixing, they're very hard to replace.
So with all jobs like this, it's about having the confidence that you know what these fixings are and that they'll go back on how they should. Because obviously you don't want to take something apart and it doesn't go back together. There we go. So that looks really smart. It was fairly simple to do and it's made such a difference to these Escort seats.
So, a quick fix from Freya, but Derek is in it for the long haul on the battered bodywork. He's cutting back the edge of the gaping boot hole, looking for sound metal.
It showed my worst nightmare. Someone's been here before. It's not just rusty, it's filler.
To fix the hole, Derek needs to weld to clean metal. Now he'll have to cut out all the old filler first.
So someone's put fiberglass in here, which is not a good fix, and the filler is going all the way back up against the ledge.
To save the rotten back door, he's carefully cutting out rusty metal and the old filler. Then at last, he can get on with his fix.
So I've got a bit of an off-cut, because I don't want to waste anything. This is just a bit of sheet metal, 1.5 thick, that will stiffen this up, because we've got to drill a hole once I've cut it for the motor.
Going in underneath with his steel plate, Derek can then weld, grind back, and clean up the rear end, ready for some filler to smooth off the surface.
It's so difficult because I don't want too much there, but if I have too little, I've got to fill it again. I can feel this going off now, so I think what I'll do is just leave it, because I know what usually happens. I keep playing with it and I muck it up, so this is good. I'm going to leave this overnight, and when I come in the morning, I shall rub all this back.
At the repair lot, team memorabilia expert Abby helps people keep treasured memories alive through their automotive objects.
So I've got Jason coming into the workshop today, and he's bringing in a lovely childhood toy he wants to bring him back to its best. So, what have you brought us today?
This is a 1960s tractor, made in the UK, we believe. I've had it since I was 5. So it would have been about 1975 when I first had it.
Wow.
My nan bought it from a jumble sale, and my brother and I used to play with it in my nan's garden.
Brilliant. I'm assuming that you'd help round the garden with this feature.
Yeah, the tipper comes up and tip the grass cuttings out onto the compost heap.
Right.
And help sort out the grass at my nan's house.
Brilliant. So what is it that you'd like us to do with this?
Well, I'd like to restore it back to how it was back in 1970, really. It was a red tipper bucket. The seat would have been green underneath, which it's green all the way through, but obviously some of the original paint's still there.
So it's quite unusual for somebody to have a toy from when they were 5 years old, especially considering it was something that tied them so closely to their nan. I like that.
And it'd be nice to do it because she's long gone, and obviously this is all I've got left from that era, really.
Yeah. Now, this may look like an easy job to restore a child's toy, but I know that this is going to be harder than it looks.
First down memory lane to work on this trash tipper is mechanic Hannah.
So what a lovely thing this is, this little tipper from, obviously, for a child, and takes me back to my childhood in a way, so which wasn't actually that long ago. So I had a little go-kart and built it myself and things like that. It still works today, but unlike that, this is not in good shape at all. So what I'm gonna have to do is completely take the frame apart, wheels off, tipper bucket off. It's gonna be a big team effort, this tipper.
Hannah goes in hard with her tools. She has to strip the whole thing down into a set of parts so it can be properly shot blasted to remove the rust.
So what I'm trying to do is, this looks like, 'cause this is where the steering wheel sits onto, and this looks like it should separate from the actual rod or column, so I can then take it out from here, but it won't budge.
The steering column can only come out in one direction, and this steering wheel mount is blocking the way. It has to come off.
So it hasn't worked. It's still, to be honest, it doesn't show any signs of, it still looks like it's completely one piece.
Hannah decides to free the part by getting it red hot, and then hitting it again.
No, it's still not moving.
Still no dice, so out comes the cutting tool. And then hammer time.
So this still won't come off. It is the most frustrating piece I think I've ever had to work on.
Hannah's going medieval on this. Surely something's got to give.
That's that off, that's good.
Right, now she can crack on and tear this toy down, ready to be shot blasted clean before bodywork expert Jerry Lee paints it.
There we go. So that's all 4 wheels off. That was not an easy job. And we're just left with the frame now, so glad we got this far.
It's been a tough day, but no hard feelings, eh?
It has been worse than a car, this little tipper. Yeah, to the point I just don't want anything more to do with it.
An early start in the workshop, and the beach buggy oil leak is the task today for Hannah.
What I can see is that it's weeping along here. So on a closer inspection, it looks like it's coming from the tubes. Now, these tubes feed oil into the engine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace all of the tubes, both sides, so that we know we've got the correct fitting and that we're not going to have this oil leak anymore.
Oil runs within the tubes to keep the engine lubricated. Hannah's done some searching around and found a clever new spring-loaded fix.
So I've just removed the push rods, and there you can see the tube sitting in there. So instead of taking this engine apart, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the tubes off. Then the new ones are spring-loaded, so they'll be able to fit in there and the spring will be able to push them out. So they're a lot easier to fit, but these I'm going to have to break out. So I'm removing the old oil tubes where the push rods are housed inside. It's not something I've done before while the car engine is still in one piece.
Breaking out the old tubes needs a big set of grips.
That was easy.
Yep, that's the simple bit. But once the 8 tubes are crushed, they're history. Question is, will the new flexible parts fit?
So the new tubes have arrived. These are the new spring-loaded oil feeders. So they're a little bit different to the ones that I've taken off, as that they've got a spring inside, and then that then slides in there. So they've got to be made up, but as you can see, they're quite spring-loaded. So they'll be hopefully a little bit easier to fit because I can make them shorter, slide them in, and then they'll open up.
To stop any oil leaking out, Hannah fits little rings to make a strong seal with the engine.
God, bloody hell. Right, so that's slid in there, and then that locates in there. So that's a really tight fit due to that spring being so strong. So that's fitted in really nicely. Perfect.
Once the fix is done, the engine is built up again. And of course, fill up the oil or the engine will seize.
So the only thing left to do is go and take it for a road test, check that all the gears are nice, that it goes through each gear properly, check there's no oil leak, and basically give it a good thrashing.
It's not California, but this buggy can still bring on the smiles.
This is a great bit of kit, this is. What a fun little car to drive. I'm just hoping it doesn't rain since I have absolutely no roof, no windows, but it's a wicked little car to drive. So that's in first, second, third, fourth. Ah, easy. I could change gear with my little finger, it's so easy. Oh. Gearbox is sweet! It's quite quick as well, but I'm really, really happy with the work that's been done. What a car.
Today, Catherine is on her way in, hoping the team have put the sparkle back into Mimo the beach buggy. always a head-turner, the unsafe steering and graunchy gear change meant Catherine was too scared to drive it. Throw in the oil leak Hannah discovered, and this car went from dream drive to nightmare motor.
Hey, Catherine.
Hi, Charlie.
How
Nice
are
to
you?
see you.
It's been a while.
I know.
You've had a beach buggy gap in your life. How's it been without it?
Well, it's been hard, I tell you. I can't wait to see Mimo again and see what you've done and drive Mimo as well. You know, bring a smile to people's faces because, you know, it's the kind of car you look at and you think, oh, that's so cute.
Well, it's definitely a stunner. Get ready for the dazzle. I'm going to take the cover off and I'm going to talk you through exactly what's been done to get your car back on the road.
I am so ready for this. Oh, it's so good to see it again.
It's still super sparkly. It's still very much the car that you left with us.
Yeah.
On the outside.
Yeah.
But if you notice here, there is no more movement in that steering column.
Brilliant.
So to prevent that from happening, Derek built a bespoke bracket which just holds it all in place, and there's no more play in that steering column. So when you're driving along, it's nice and steady.
That sounds great. To feel that it's secure and that, you know, I can nip around the lanes and around the corners without thinking, oh, it's juddering. If your steering wheel's not secure, you're always going to be worried about what's going on, you know?
Of course.
So, yeah, lovely.
One of the other issues you were having was the fact that you just couldn't change gears very easily. It was quite clunky, really uncomfortable. So when Hannah was looking at the gearbox, it turned out there was basically no lubrication in that linkage. So she's put a load of grease in there, and she's also adjusted the selector so it all works nice and smoothly now.
I can't wait to try it. I can't wait to get in there and reconnect with this lovely car. Ooh. It's great. It's so much fun. I love it. The steering wheel's completely different now. It's so much more secure. Even on these little bumpy roads, it feels completely solid. And the gearbox feels so much smoother. It's so much easier to change gear. Absolutely brilliant.
At the repair lot, there's great news on the embarrassing Escort. Jerry Lee has been trawling the auction sites looking for a rare replacement bumper, and she's landed a real deal.
So I'm super happy with this. I got an amazing bargain. £50 I paid. It's incredibly dirty, so I'm just washing it down, getting it ready for priming and then painting.
It's the start of an intense day in the spray booth for Jerry Lee, as the toy tipper and the Escort both need paint. Tipper first.
It was super rusty, so we sent it off to get shot blasted. And now I've primed it and I'm getting ready to paint it blue. And I'm super excited about seeing it transformed.
The tipper will be a riot of primary colours. Blue frame, red bucket and a bright green seat, as it was in 1975. And there's no rest for Jerry Lee because things are also moving fast with the Ford bodywork.
So I've been working really hard on the door. It's almost done. I've primed it a few times, sanded it back, and now I'm just getting it ready for paint, doing the final touches by padding it, which leaves it super smooth, ready for paint.
It's a full-on day. The restored boot and the second-hand bumper are getting several coats of a deep green. Then the gig wagon will look banging. The paint on the tipper is now dry, and Derek channels his inner kid into the rebuild.
This has been apart a long time, so it's nice to see it come back together. And all these vibrant colours.
Derek is giving this little toy the same attention to detail he'd give a much-loved classic car.
So what I managed to do is get some new fixings, and we'll have to use some of the old ones. So I'm trying to make it look authentic as possible. So I've got a similar bolt. So I really don't want to drop any of this and scratch the paint. There we go. Starting to look so pretty.
Over 40 years ago, owner Jason used to use this toy to help his nan with the gardening. Now the key tipper part is close to complete.
Let's see if this works. Ta-da!
When Jason dropped this tipper toy off with the team, they had no idea it would almost tip them over the edge. Hannah lost the plot on the strip down of this rusty relic.
I just don't want anything more to do with it.
Jerry Lee spent hours in the spray booth transforming the paintwork.
It was super rusty.
And then Derek struggled to get it over the line.
So I could do it with 3 hands.
But finally, it's ready for Abby to hand over.
Nice to see you again.
She's got a winter hat on. I bet Jason feels like a kid at Christmas.
How you feeling?
Not bad. I'm looking forward to seeing it done.
I'm excited. Are you ready to see it?
Yeah, go on then.
You want to have a look?
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. That is like brand new. How did you even get that like that?
What do you think?
That is unbelievable. That is just unbelievable. That's, you know, more than I could ever expected, to be fair. That's kind of blown me away a little bit. I might even cry in a minute. It's brought back so many kids' memories. It's hard not to cry because it's so bringing back memories from that era of my life. And I didn't think it'd get me like that, but it has.
How wonderful was that response from Jason? You can tell he's so emotional and nostalgic about the restoration of the tipper truck. The team have done a brilliant job. It looks like brand new, doesn't it?
It does look like brand new. I am gobsmacked.
I'm glad that we could do this for you.
That's really amazing. I am so pleased to see it like that.
Do you think your grandchildren would like it then in the future?
Yeah, in the future, if my daughter has kids, they would definitely love that. It's old school. It's fun, but it's going to live another life.
What do you think your dad's going to say about it?
I think he'll cry, because it'll bring back memories of my mum and it'll bring back memories of our grandparents. So I think he'll be emotional if he sees it like this, definitely.
I think it's really important, you know, you really love this item, so we really wanted to get it back to how it used to be. So it means a lot that it means a lot to you, because a lot of love has been put into this pedal car. Thanks for sharing
it is a really special moment, trust me.
It's had quite a transformation.
I want to thank all the people that worked on it. You've done an amazing job, and it's going to be cherished by my family for many years to come.
Fresh from the success of the tipper, Derek is finishing up the Ford. That rough rear end on the estate is now smooth and shiny as he bolts the new bumper on the back.
1 down, 1 to go. Better? That's good. A little polish. Excellent.
And then it's time to whip the wiper on the boot.
So, this motor was supplied by David. We'll have a go, shall we? It's nice and tight in that hole that I've done.
It's all coming together for Derek. Final details done.
That's good, really pleased with that.
Drum roll, please. David is returning to pick up his fast Ford. The gig wagon he shares with his drumming daughter, Fenella. When he left the car at the workshop, this Escort looked like an ageing roadie. A rear-end shunt left the bumper hanging off, the boot had a huge rusty hole in it, and the hard-working interior was exhausted. Charlie hopes the work the team have done will hit the right note.
David, hello.
Hello, Charlie.
How you doing?
I'm fine, how are you?
Very well, thank you. No Fenella today?
No Fenella today, no. Fenella's had to go to college today, I'm afraid, but she's really dying to see what's under here. Can't wait to show her.
I'm going to take this cover off and we're going to have a closer look at what's been happening.
OK, yeah.
Right, are you ready?
I'm ready, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, ready, yeah. Oh, wow.
There it is.
Look at that. Oh, my God. That's fantastic. Wow. Look at this shine on it. Oh, my days. That's superb. Oh, my God. I can't believe it. Transformed. Fantastic. There's no hole. There's a wiper. And look at the bumper. It's actually straight and on. It's in the right place. Just want to touch it. It's so shiny.
David's reaction when I took that cover off was absolutely amazing. It's the sort of one that really makes me smile because he was interacting with it, he was looking at it, he was touching it. He was like, yes, this is my car and it looks amazing, and that made me feel amazing. This has been a big project for the team, so I'm going to hand the keys over and I'm going to ask you to do the honours and open it up.
Needed a bit of a tidy.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Oh, wow. This is new. That's lovely.
As a final finish to protect the restored rear end from any drum damage, Derek handmade a new inside cover from a piece of off-cut board.
And what do you think Fenella's going to think when she sees it?
I think she's going to want to go there and put her drums in it and get to the next gig in it. I think that's what she'll want to do. I think she'll be down to get in it. I'm really, really chuffed with it. You've exceeded my expectations massively. You've lifted the car to a place I never thought it'd get to. I'll be so proud of driving it, and I'll be so proud of showing other people the car.
Ecstatic with his Escort estate, David heads home to daughter Fenella to see if it rocks her world too.
The boot, the paint, welding, body stuff, interior, cleaning, fixing the seats up. I feel really, really chuffed that they've mucked in and all, helped me with the car. It's like a new car, really. It's like new car feeling again. A new car feeling with a car that's nearly 30 years old.